Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus. My communication with you has always been about you and I, about us going higher. I was sitting a moment ago and I was looking at a video that I posted. And as I sat there, I noticed a lot of times I was just saying, you, you, you gotta, you gotta. And I didn't like the way it sounded because it seemed as if I was leaving me out. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm leaving me out. I'm number one. Anything that I say about you, I'm number one. I engage myself in that. I stand before you as a person that's really authentic. Why do I say that? Because when I talk to you about pain and suffering, I'm talking about what you are lacking in your life. I'm talking about what we as a people are lacking in our lives. None of us are really getting the glory that has been designed for us from the beginning of time. None of us. And there are all kinds of reasons why it exists. But my number one concern is that it stops. The ignorance stops. And we begin to understand that we can do something about this. Now, the reason that I do that is this. Some time ago, I had an encounter with a spirit that identified itself through action. And that action exemplified a power that I can't even imagine that a human being or human beings collectively can do. And so I am satisfied that there's a power that I can't see that is responsible for my continued existence here. And one of the most magnificent things that I can share with you during my continued existence here is to say to you and to share with you that there is an invisible power that you, my friends, and I'm saying it to you now because I've already said it to myself, can put your faith in. This hope thing, put your faith in this power and exemplify it by allowing that power to live in you. That spirit, allow it to live in you. Now that it lives in you, exemplify it. What is that spirit? That spirit is love. That's why you receive it. That's why you want it. That's what it's all about. And now you're going to show it. Now, that doesn't mean that any of us know the maximum of love. We don't. But as we show it, we learn by watching the love flow from one another as we go. So I want you to know that when I'm saying you, I'm saying us. Because I made a vow. I had seen people talk about God all my life. Yes, I've seen people talk about God. And to me, it's the biggest scam I ever heard. All of it, to me, is the biggest scam. Now, that doesn't mean that it truly is a scam, But when I'm looking at its actions, I'm looking at what it is doing in this big hellhole. And I don't see anything that's measuring anything close to the God that I speak to you about. Somebody would say, well, what is that God that you speak to us about? What is that God doing? I'm going to tell you this. Don't blame anything on that God, because that God gave you the responsibility, gave you the choice. If you want to live as if you're in heaven, if you want peace and prosperity and joy in your life, if you want freedom and the fulfillment of your dreams, if you don't want to ever have to worry about food, clothing, shelter, education, and health care, and if you want to guarantee that, engage yourself in the process of creating all of that, and enough of it so that none of us will ever have to suffer. And we don't have to lie, we don't have to cheat, and we don't have to accept anybody lying to us or trying to cheat us. We're no fools, and we're not going to try to fool anybody. And we definitely, my friends, since we engaged ourselves in the process of creating all that exists, then now it belongs to us. And we don't have to buy it from anybody. It is a gift. The resources, the materials that are given come from that power that we can't see. Created the earth, put it in the earth, above the earth. Some of it's seen, some of it is not. But it's here and there. And it's for the purpose for which we and animals and whoever can use it or whatever can use it. That's what it's for. We've happened to require these things. And this is what we've mastered. And this is how we live. We live according to what we as a people, expressing the compassion that comes from a power that is responsible for our existence. We don't let nobody come in here like talking to us about, I don't care what you're talking about. I want to think about Putin or communism, and I want to think about North Korea, and I want to think about China, and I want to think about all the people that's causing all this hell on the face of the earth. All of them trying to play God. Don't know nothing about love. Walking around with a big stick, big guns, planes, ships, what they can do. Big, mighty Hulk walking across the earth, taking over everything, back and forth, to and fro, what it can destroy. And we the people sitting back here going through pure hell when the God of love said, hey, forget that stuff. That exists only because you agree with it. Only because for some reason or another you agree with it. And we know what ultimately the reason is. You ain't ready to die, and they, you know, are so evil that they will kill you if you turn against them. We say, well, what? Am I against them? And I say they will kill you. They'll do killing for people that's against them. Then am I going to be killed? I tell you what. Let me ask you something. Do you know something? The most precious gift that to me, let me tell you about me right now. The most precious gift that any man can give, and the most precious gift that any man can receive, is at a moment in time, a moment in their life, when they can contribute that life for the benefit of every human being on earth. You see, what I want is for every last one of you to be happy. Even Putin and Trump and the guy in North Korea and the guy in China. I want those guys to be happy without having to think that they got to be boss. That they recognize that they are not boss because you are not listening to anybody but that power that no one can see but you. And that power is living in you and it's being made manifest by what you're doing. I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. I got a call coming in and I want to take this call. And I want to say to you, pay some attention to life and live. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.